But first, this morning, so much attention on Prince Andrew, who's now set to face trial in the United States after a judge denied his attempt to dismiss the civil sex case being brought against him by Virginia Giuffre. She claims, as I'm sure you know, that the Duke abused her in 2001, claims, of course, that he has always denied. Well, joining me now is Royal Editor Russell Myers and Dr. Anne Olivarius, a lawyer who specialises in cases of sexual abuse, harassment and discrimination. Well, Russell, first of all, it's what you said was going to happen. It's just taken us a little bit of time to get here, but it was sort of inevitable, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so. I think, just listening to the judge over the last couple of weeks and certainly last week, he gave Prince Andrew's legal team a short shrift, and he said that there was no argument to stop this trial going ahead, and indeed the judgment that he handed down yesterday was pretty scathing. So the way it stands at the moment is Prince Andrew will be facing a civil trial, we believe, sometime in the autumn. Of course, there is still that option on the table to settle this case. I think when you look at the facts, about 99% of cases of this nature in the United States do get settled before they go to court. However, both sides need to agree, and certainly Virginia Giuffre, who has accused the Duke of York of these allegations of sexual assault that he has denied, she has said that she wants her day in court, and would she now be willing to settle if the money was right? I mean, the language coming from her team yesterday was that a settlement might be on the cards. However, I think that she wants more. She does want an apology, and whether that will be forthcoming, whether that would be an admission of guilt, is your guess as good as mine at the moment.
Well, I wonder if we could talk to Anne, because Anne, we've expected this from what the judge said last week, or the week before. Why do you think he decided that this action could now go ahead?
The action was clear that it was going to go ahead. In a motion to dismiss, which was before the court, Judge Kaplan, who is really one of our finest jurists in the United States, is an excellent lawyer. He's a judge who wrote a very fine, it was called scathing opinion, but I would say it just was a beautiful legal piece of architecture. He came to the right conclusion. To get rid of this case, the standard is that you have to accept what her claims are. And unless her claims are so ridiculous as not to survive a trial, not to be true, then the case has to go forward and she gets her day in court. And so that's what he decided. It was clear he had to decide it that way. There was no surprise in this decision by Judge Kaplan.
Well, as Russell was saying, there has been a lot of talk about the possibility of some sort of settlement, but obviously Virginia Giuffre has to agree to that, and she has said through her lawyers that this is not necessarily about the money.
Oh, yeah, she's been very clear. I mean, she actually is a victim's hero in a sense, because what she said is, sure, money is important. It is the currency of justice in the world. There's no question about that in a civil suit. The criminal justice system typically fails women who bring sex assault claims, and so she's going the civil route. And she's saying, though, that she wants two things more than the money. She wants an apology, and she wants to make sure that he takes responsibility for what he's done. Those two requirements have to be met. Well, I mean, that's going to be very hard for him to do, given the position that he's been taking so far. But she's going to stick to that.
And of course, no one is above the law. That's the thing. And if it did go to court, which obviously he would not want that to happen. I mean, he's going to have to prove that he's got a medical condition that means that he can't sweat. He's going to have to prove that he was in that Pizza Express when it was claimed that he was having sex with Virginia Giuffre. Claims that he's always denied, of course. But he'll do anything, I would have thought, to avoid this.
Well, sure, because look, now we go to the discovery phase. And in the United States, we get 7 hours with a person accused of what he's accused with. 7 hours of a deposition where he has to answer questions that will surely touch on issues of how many of Jeff Epstein's committed, convicted trafficker, sex trafficker, how many times was he with Jeff Epstein? How many other men were there? What were they doing? How many times has he had extramarital affairs? I mean, how many other girls has he slept with? These are the kinds of questions that are going to be asked of him and that he has to answer. He could try to avoid answering. He could try to have the deposition sealed so that the public doesn't get to read it. But it's going to be a very hard standard to have that deposition sealed because, he's the person who's the accused person. Sometimes they will protect the people bringing these complaints, but she's been completely honest. She's out there. She's been very clear what her points are. And, he doesn't get to hide probably going forward. So he's going to be facing deposition of documents where he has to turn over a lot of documents. He's going to have to prove medical conditions that he's alleged that he has, his whereabouts at the Pizza Express, as you properly have said, and answer all sorts of questions about his private life, which are going to be very, very challenging for anyone in that situation, and certainly for Prince Andrew. He's in a very tough place right now.
Yes, and stay with us. He's in a tough place right now, but Russell, the Queen, who really doesn't give away anything, of course she doesn't, never has, but this is a big year for her. Obviously, the Platinum Jubilee, 70 years on the throne and all of that, she must be distraught. It's obviously cast a shadow.
We've only just stopped, reporting on the programme of events that is going to be part of the huge celebrations for the Platinum Jubilee year. And how on earth can, they move forward with this while they have this huge cloud hanging over them? I mean, forget Prince Andrew being on, Trooping the Colour. One of the other main points as well is he holds 9 military posts, one of those being Colonel of the Grenadier Guard.
They have to toast him.
Well, of course. Well, how can he Colonel when, he can't even be there? And one of them expected that role to be present at the Trooping the Colour.
Indeed.
We've spoken about people coming forward to enjoy this big celebration, and it's an unmitigated disaster at the moment.
It really is, and like we said, we always say that he's denied all of these allegations, of course, and will do anything. As we heard from Anne, he'll do anything to avoid.
Well, they've tried every trick in the book up to now,
and
they're still in this position, so they're backed up against the wall, and I think they'll still keep on fighting. They're still not going to take this lying down.
Thank you, Russell, and Anne, thank you very much, because as I said, nobody's above the law. You do wonder, depending on what happens with this case, whether other alleged victims of Epstein might name other alleged high-profile, high-powered men. You just don't know, do you?
Well, certainly, I think this is the danger also. Virginia Giuffre has held herself very well as somebody who represents people all the time in court on both sides of the pond. And she's really held her own with dignity. She's been very clear. She seems to be, very earnest. And she's trying to hold him to task. But what else is going to come out if this goes to trial? You're right. What other potential men are going to be involved in the Jeff Epstein sex trafficking world that Prince Andrew seems to have had some involvement in? We may learn a very deep involvement. We may learn otherwise. But certainly at this stage, she's opened that door. Now they've got to decide what to do. They've been fighting on technicalities to try and win this. That's not working. And that doesn't show him well. All these technicalities on the basis of documents of a convicted sex trafficker. He's really put himself in a very dark situation. Perhaps his legal guidance has not been as, visionary and progressive as was necessary. But his back now is in a very, very tight situation. And I wish him well. It's going to be very tough. I'm very proud of Virginia Giuffre, though, because I represent victims. And she's really saying, you can do something to many women. You can really try and do the right thing. It's hard. But, I'm going forward. It's not going to be easy for her. She'll be besmirched. But I think no matter how this comes out, Prince Andrew has lost. He's lost a reputation that he'll never regain properly, even if he prevails at the trial. He's lost, and he doesn't come out well. That Matless interview, he handled terribly.
No, that's very true. That's very true. And
he's got a tough situation.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again in the future. And Russell, as always, thank you. Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Lorraine on the ITV Hub and all the best clips, compilations and playlists right here on our channel. Just subscribe now and you'll never miss an upload. Click here to watch another video similar to this one, or click here to head to our channel's homepage to explore all of our exciting videos.